We're back to talking about airlines. There was a big article that came out, I think, about 2 days ago, and it's important to talk about it. I think that um, the more publicity we have about this, the better. And I want to thank USA Today because they're the ones who put out this recent article. Uh, and Zach Whitker or Wichter is the author of this article. It's quite large, so I'm not going to read it word for word. But I will put the link in the description box so you can read the details of it. I think it's really important. And the opening of this article is heartbreaking, really heartbreaking. I fully expect my wheelchair to keep getting damaged, and it's a fairly significant source of stress for me when I fly. Folks, this is hard. This is really hard for all of you and for me, to figure out this situation of flying. Now, there are some signs of progress, but it's so frustrating. And there are some bits and pieces of this article that I will mention. The reported damaged situations of wheelchairs was so far reported. This was up to September of 2023, is 8,637. And that includes all airlines. And it's like, and that were turned into the Department of Transportation. So we know there was a lot more damage and problems with wheelchairs in various airlines. So these are the ones that were turned in. But, full year data of 2023 is expected in early 2024. And I am dreading those numbers. I'm dreading those numbers. Because, sometimes when people keep on reporting, keep on announcing, sometimes people get mad and break more wheelchairs. But that's how I feel. It's like, geez. Even so, this is from the article, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg told USA Today those numbers need to be brought way down. I think they need to go down to zero. As far as I'm concerned, because we've put up with enough, and the training has to be redone, and how we're treated needs to be redone. So I have hopes that in 2024, we'll see some changes. I don't know. Any number greater than zero is not acceptable number, he said. Not this. This not only affects your trip, it affects your life. And it does. We're stressed out and wondering, what kind of damage is my wheelchair going to show this time? Is my wheelchair going to survive, So Heather Bennett was the one who had this opening statement. I fully expect my wheelchair to keep getting damaged. She's the one who had that opening statement. But Bennett agreed, saying, not a lot of people realize it's not just the damage to the chair. It's the time in my life that I have to take to fix it, and ended up being costly, of course, because that's how horrible the damages are. So, Buttigieg and accessibility advocates want airlines to do better and are optimistic about regulatory changes being considered for 2024 that could help bring some improvement. Some. I want all improvements. That's what I want, because this has been going on for too long, and that's my opinion. That is my opinion. What travelers told us in 2023. So, the article is really good, very detailed, and, I can give you examples. Stephanie Gross, whose wheelchair was destroyed on American Airlines flight just days before her wedding in July, confirmed to USA Today it still hasn't been fixed. And this article was written, I'll tell you, December 27, 2023. So that's what I'm talking about, folks. That's what I'm talking about. It's like, we are consumers. And I say this a lot. We are consumers. And we purchase tickets. And we also need to fly, just like anyone else. And we have a medical device that they can't seem to keep safe. We have a medical device that they can't seem to understand that, keeps us upright, keeps us independent. And when it's broken, we are too. And a lot of people say, it's my legs. You just broke them. So the whole thing is, what advocates hope to see in the future. So for most advocates, the key first step to improvement is better training for airlines employees who handle mobility devices and interact with the disabled passengers. Here's some of what different organizations are pushing for, as we heard in 2024. So if you haven't been following all these news articles and clips, there's been, meetings. All Wheels Up is a big organization throughout the United States, and they did a conference, and they had, important people there and expressed their frustrations and their ideas on how to improve things. Airlines were also there, and I think Pete Buttigieg might have been there, but I hate to see words on paper, folks, but better training and onboard accessibility. So, okay, when will we see it? The people that are handling our bodies and our lives are people that don't know how to do it. Very true. They've been trained to pick up, heavy weight. But if it slips and it drops, okay, well, but a person, I will never let them pick me up, because if they drop me, folks, I'm going to be in the hospital for who knows how long. I will be a mess. I'm telling you right now, I will not let them pick me up. If you don't strap us the way you're supposed to strap us, if you don't carry us the way you're supposed to carry us, we can fall. This is from the article. So going to the bathroom is just a basic human right, Biscopo added. The fact that has not been a priority for the airline industry is the biggest example of ableism in the airline industry. I think Pete Buttigieg, our transportation director here and the CEO here in the United States, I don't think he knew, I don't think he was aware that all the tricks of the trade that we have to do to be able to fly, not being able to drink water like 2-3 hours before we fly, and we just don't go to the bathroom. We just don't. Because we can't. There is no way, once we're seated, that we can just get up and go to the bathroom. We can't. Our legs don't work. So, and there has been an incident where a gal really needed to go to the bathroom. Nobody would help her, so she dragged herself to the bathroom. Because she really needed to go. There are other tricks to the trade, especially for people who have bags, they need to be emptied and all that kind of stuff. It's awful. And the airlines need to recognize that, Here's another piece, for us, what that looks like is that people who are going to be assisting you prior to them stepping out to do the work under the pressure of time to load an aircraft, that they receive training from someone who is familiar with how the aisle chairs work. That would be nice. That they have some understanding of the needs of the passengers with disabilities who need to use an aisle chair. This should happen in the environment where people can be trained and learn in a way that's safe. And, you know, I don't know if that'll ever happen, but the whole thing is it needs to stop, and it needs to really happen somehow, somewhere, at some time. And it's very difficult. I don't know what the airlines are thinking. Air Canada, which I will be using next year, so Air Canada, remember this face. Remember this face. But Air Canada, you know, had a horrible incident in which they flew from Canada to somewhere here in the United States, and nobody came. There was nobody available to take this passenger off. And so he had to get on the floor, crawl himself, drag himself off the plane. I don't know, Air Canada, what you were thinking. And I realized that, you know, they have contracts and people in the airport, and, you know, it gets so complicated and people not available. Jeez. Their own government called their butt in to ask them what the heck that was all about. And especially about other, you know, wheelchairs being lost and wheelchairs being broken and people dragging themselves off the airplane. The government, their own Canadian government, said, "Can you explain this, please?" And, you know, so Air Canada had to go in to talk to their government and explain what on earth happened. So, you know, what Air Canada is pledging. So let's see. You know, among the immediate measures, customers who request lift assistance will be consistently boarded first. Mobility aids will be stored in the cabin when possible. Enhanced training for Air Canada staff, part of a new annual recurrent program, will be provided to improve all aspects of employee interactions with customers with disabilities. And they called us customers. They didn't call us people with disabilities. They called us customers, and that's exactly what we are. And, you know, it's a financial issue. We are also putting money into these airlines. And, you know, it's important to what we give back, you know. Rodney Hodgins, and this is part of the article from the Air Canada incident. Rodney Hodgins, a wheelchair user, says that he had to drag himself along, and this is the incident, along the aisle, helped by his wife, when mobility assistance staff from the airport didn't turn up to assist him when his flight landed in Las Vegas. He says that Air Canada staff instructed him to disembark on foot, despite the fact that he can't walk, so that they could turn the plane around. I'm speechless, and I'm sure you are as well. The airline declined to offer specifics in response to CNN's questions about the Hodgins allegations. The airline said it called the couple to apologize and offer them compensation, and acknowledged in a statement that the level of care that should have been provided at the destination airport was not. Just wasn't. So, you know, all these airlines, by 2024, and even before then, if they could finish the year in a better tone, in not breaking our medical devices, That would be awesome. That would be a good start. And by not dropping us, you know, they're talking about lifts in the previous article, and that is awesome because I don't expect any airline personnel to pick us up. I really don't, because some of us have specialized needs, and even in the hospital, they don't pick us up. They use a lift. For heck, they use a lift, and so that would save the employees, and that would keep the person safe. So I think the lifts are critical. Now, I still wouldn't need a lift. I can transfer from the wheelchair over to the aisle chair because my arms are strong. But those who are quadriplegic and in other conditions, they would probably need a lift. And the lift is the safest way for the personnel and for the person with a disability, the customer. Let's call them a customer. So, they got to think this through. And lifts for an airline is not too expensive, or for an airport. And a lift is not that expensive. A lift is absolutely necessary in a hospital. So why would a lift not be absolutely necessary in an airport? In a hospital, they don't let their nurses, they don't let their staff pick up a patient because they could injure the patient and they could injure themselves. So they use lifts. So I'm hoping that all airports will have lifts for those situations that require them. So, folks, I'm hoping that 2024 will absolutely be a better year for us as customers, disabled customers, that we can not have a nervous breakdown because our wheelchair is lost, broken, left behind, or there is no staff to get us out of the plane, or we can't get to the bathroom. We have put up a lot, and we've been too patient for too long. So I think the more publicity we get, the more articles we can spit out, whether in your community, whether in your province, in your country, the better. Here we have All Wheels Up. In Canada, we have Wheels for All, I think it's called. So if all countries had a national organization that can deal with the airlines and say, hey, look, it's time. We're not invisible. And we need to get from point A to point B. We are customers. We give you money. So, what's the issue here? And you can't charge us more just because. So, I don't know what it's going to take, but I am praying and I am hoping that all these articles and the pressures and the meetings and the documentation and what we put in Congress and everything else, I'm hoping that something starts to change in 2024. I want to see those numbers go down to zero and really fast because it's enough. Enough is enough. And I think you would agree, enough is enough. We've had this for how many years? How many? How many of you who are listening to me now have been through this nightmare? How many? Raise your hand. So I will never, right now, I will never give them my my wheelchair. My wheelchair is a power wheelchair, and it's quite expensive, and I can't afford for them to break it. And for me to go through this hassle of who knows what. I don't know what awaits me if they break my wheelchair. I don't know. So I don't want to go down that road of I don't know. So I don't think any of you who are listening want to go down that road of I don't know what's going to happen if my wheelchair doesn't come out ever again or comes out in pieces. So I think that the more we can publicize what we've been through, the better. And I think that puts pressure on the airlines to start to do things on their own and without us having to write up laws rules and regulations to break their arm for them to change. I don't think that's necessary. I think the airlines should say, hey, you know, this is what we've done to our customers. Let's improve it. Let's improve it. So if you want to go to your local newspaper, please do, and write up your experience, because I think this is what's going to really help us put this front and stage to get things to change. You know, and these articles are very good articles with a lot of details, and so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I think that the more the more newspapers have a department just dedicated to this issue, the better. And I think that is a huge help to us, either on the radio or the newspaper or on YouTube, or, because I continually put out, the wheelchair travel opinion, so that I can talk about it and point to the articles that have come out that talk about us, and what's going to be done and what are they committing to. So I just wanted to put that out there. I want to thank all of you that have stopped and used your minutes to listen to me, to listen about these articles, and I will certainly put the link down below in the description box so you can read them in their entirety and see what else you can do to help put some pressure on the situation so that it will improve for you and for me. So thank you again. Feel free to subscribe. That is great, and it helps this humble channel. And to like as well, because that helps spread the video throughout the YouTube world. And we will get more publicity that way. And the airlines will probably hear about it at some point, that World Wheelchair Warriors put out, comments about the situation that we go through every day with our wheelchairs and having to fly. Because it's not a matter of because I like to fly. A lot of times it's because I have to fly. I have to go to a funeral, or I have to go to work. And part of my job is to fly. So it's not just a luxury, it is a need. So listen up, airlines, and let us get together to solve this issue. Again, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you in the next one.